Now it happened. OpenAI just released their own agentic framework. And I would say that is a big thing. Of course, they're not the first. We have been CrewAI building on top of them. We have Langchain. We have AutoGen and other frameworks, which I demonstrated and benchmarked in my previous videos. Um, but what is now totally new that one of the main big players, which is OpenAI, Anthropic, Google Gemini's, these players, that they have like their own agentic framework. It is yet not like it's only in beta for now. It's like educational testing system, let's say. It's not out there for production. But anyway, we will take a look because I think this has lots of potential. So as you can see, the big news sites and like business sites, they're already talking about it. We have like Forbes talking about it. OpenAI newly released AI product Swarm swiftly brings agentic AI into the real world. So it's built on routines and handoffs. And what is a routine? The routine is the notion of a routine is not strictly defined and instead meant to capture the idea of a set of steps connectedly. Let's define a routine to be a list of instructions in natural language, which will represent with a system prompt, along with the tools necessary to complete them. So this is similar to CrewAI, of course. Pretty much everything is very similar to CrewAI, what I present to you, but they approach it in a very different way. And what I like about it, it's like a very clean and lean way how they do that. So as said, it's like you have the system prompt and then you have like some actions which gonna take place after another, like linearly. And this is then like, let's say you have one single agent who is performing some task one after another, calling tools, things like that. And then we have the handoffs, and the handoffs which will be used too by this Swarm AI framework. And the handoff is like as an agent or routine, handing off an active conversation to another agent. So this is pretty much those different agents that we have now. It's not only one agent, so we have multiple agents handing on different tasks to each other. And those do like function calling and things like that. So let's dive into that now. So we have here the library. And this library is, well, I'm going to show you the main page. So they say here, Swarm AI, it's experimental and educational. So for now, it's not ready for production. And yeah, you have to consider that. And here they had said it again in the warning. So yeah, let's dive into it. So here we have different folders. We're first going to do the examples. And in the examples, you have like the basics, which we're going to go through each other to, step by step for step-by-step explanations. So we're going to start first with the bare minimum. And the bare minimum is, as it says, really the bare minimum. So here what we're going to do is like you create the swarm, which is, the client, let's say, which in this case is the swarm. And then you have a simple agent. You're a helpful agent. And this one gives like the system message. And at the end, it gives you an answer. This is pretty much exactly the same thing that you would do if you, just call the OpenAI API, let's say. So very, very basic. You have this one agent, you send it a message, and you get the response at the end. Then the next thing is that we have simple loop with no helpers. So here it's already getting a little bit more complex. So we have like our swan, and this swan is going through different instructions, and you have like message answer loop. So this could be pretty much like a ChatGPT instance. You have like the user and you have the ChatGPT instance. You ask like questions and you get the answer. You ask a new question and then you get a new answer. So in this case, we have only like the agent and then this message loop of just sending a message, getting response. The next thing what we have here then is the context variables. And here it's getting a little bit more interesting already, because what is happening now is that we have those instructions and we can give it like some context variables, which is in this case the name and the user. So we define those context variables, which we can see here. We have the agent and it's getting some instructions. The instructions we have here on top. And then we have the context variables. And this can be like, I guess you can even give it like a PDF or something. So information, like of course you can do the same thing with CrewAI, but you have like the full control. You just say context variable, very simple and clean, and give it the context, and then it's using this context. And what they use already here is like, they give it like, they introduce function calling. So very simple too. In this case, with this few code, you already have like giving it some context and do some function calling. And the function calling, we're gonna check out in the next step and see how this one goes then. So here we have then the simple function calling. And this is the part where it's really getting interesting. We have probably an API call, which could be in this case like get weather. And then we have the agent, which is able to use this function, which is like get weather. It takes one parameter as input, and which is the location. And then we send it the message like, what's the weather in New York City? And then it's calling, it knows that, okay, New York City is going to be the input for the location. And then at the end, we're going to get the response. So very lean, very clean. And yeah, what else? The next step, what I want to show you is like still basics, and which is now when different agents take part. So in this case, we have like an English agent and the Spanish agent. And those two guys, if the English agent gets at the end where it's like time to speak some Spanish, or the client actually wants to speak and can only speak Spanish and not English, then the English agent gonna hand over for the Spanish agent. So here we have yes, the one speaks only English, the one speaks only Spanish, and then we have the message, okay, hola, ¿cómo estás? And this is clearly Spanish, so we have to hand over the English agent, who cannot handle that, has to hand over to the Spanish agent. So the agents themselves, they know their capabilities, and when they get at a point where they can handle the request anymore, in this case it's a request in Spanish, and this English agent can only speak English, then it knows to which agent it has to handle over. And then the other agent is going to pick up and run the response. So here we give it like the two agents. Actually, we start with the English agent, but then the English agent gonna transfer to the next agent. Yes, so this is pretty much for now all the basics of it. So in this case, I have to say, compared with other AI agentic frameworks, it is pretty clear what to do. And I mean, you don't have like tons of functionality. Basically, with only this functionality, what we saw so far, we would be able to build something. And this is actually nice, because if you want to get started and if you want to build something, well, you don't want to spend like hours and hours and hours of like reading documentations and trying out to figure out these things. You just want to get started. And to make things a little bit more complex and to show what is actually possible, we have then at the end, like we have here in those examples, we have an airline example. And this airline example is like, yeah, it's like, let's say already a full project, which is able, we have like different agents, and those agents are able to handle, like as a customer support, they're able to handle the most common requests of customers, like I want to change my flight, I have lost a baggage, or like my flight is late, what can I do, or things like that. Everyone knows that, these kind of things. So here are some interesting things what I want to show you. And first is like the data and routines, because here what is very nice, you can kind of see the prompts they are using and like the prompts which you are supposed to use. So here you have full control of all the prompts. It's not that there are like tons of prompts happening in the background, like it's happened like for CrewAI, which can be at some point very overloaded. So you have no idea what is happening. The agents, they just do something, they communicate with each other, but you have not really a clue what is actually happening. And this is different. This is really different here at the Swarm from OpenAI. So you have those prompts. You are an intelligent and emphatic customer support representative for flight airlines. Then it goes on with the flight. You have like the startup prompt and the triage system prompt. You are an expert triaging agent for an airline flight airlines. Okay, for an airline flight airlines. So that's then the name. So we have here this prompt, and then we have much more prompts in those routines folder. You have then prompts specifically for the case that a customer lost like a baggage, and then you add like here their policies and things like that. So this one then knows exactly what to do when a baggage is lost. For example, call the initiate baggage search function. So of course you have to look for it. If it's not found, then we have to deliver it at the customer's address. If it's not found, call this escalate to agent function. If the customer has no further questions, call the case result function. So all the different scenarios gonna be handled here, depending on how the customer will respond to the agent. Yes. And what is nice of those prompts, usually those people who are writing these prompts, they know a lot about prompting. So here you can really learn a lot about prompting and improve your own prompts. Okay, so we have this, we have those routines. Then you have the same routines like for the flight modifications. Let's say you want to change your flight or something else. For example, we have here the scenarios. If the customer is asking about the same flight, proceed to the next step. If the customer is not, call escalate to agent function, and so on. So here you can see that it tells them if this scenario happens, then you can call the next agent, or you can proceed for the next step. So yeah, basically we have here all these information, and which can be pretty helpful. Next, yeah, the last thing what I want to show you is concerning those, it's not routines, it's like here in the airlines folder, and which is the evals. And the evals, eval cases. So this is like what they use for testing if their script is working well. So you have here a JSON, which you can use as input. And then what is going to happen is like the user sends, I want to change my flight to 1 day earlier. And what is supposed to happen is that the transfer to flight change this function has to be called transfer to flight. If it does not happen, your script is not working. So if you're like developing on your agents framework and you change something at one part, it can happen that another part, it breaks, like with any other program that you're developing. So it's always good, and they do that here, to create like, to create some tests and like evil cases, and then see that everything is happening and running smoothly and correctly. And then you can change something, and then you run your evals again, and then everything should still be working pretty fine. Okay, yeah, basically this is for now the intro. I think in the next video I actually gonna try it out and see how it's going. Oh wait, now one more thing that I wanted to show you is this is basically the agents and the tools in this framework that they created. So here you have all your agents. Here you have the routines, let's say, and then later you have the agents. So you have an agent for the triage agent, you have the flight modification agent, you have the flight cancel traversal, flight change traversal, and so on. So this looks similar, very similar to other frameworks when you just set up your agents. Yeah, it's pretty simple, I would say. And it's very clear what you can actually use. You have different functions, your instructions, and then things are going to happen in the background. And then, of course, the last file, what we're going to show is like the tools. And here the tools, basically, you can, this is actually a very good way if you want to kind of check if everything is working well. You don't really define your functions yet, you just log some outputs and see if the agent framework is like working in general. So that's what they do here. So if you would run it, you just like see like refund initiated, successful initiated flight credits, and so on and so on. So basic stuff here, what you're supposed to do. And then at the end, I guess they have a main file, of course, to kind of run everything, some variables. Yeah, this is the customer, like a test context, what they enter here, sorry. And then they just run it, run demo loop. Yeah, that's basically it. I hope you liked my little intro. Feel free to like it. In my next video, I'm gonna test it out and see how it goes. Have a nice day. Ciao, ciao.